Why Morocco, Lesotho, and Eswatini are known as kingdoms or monarchies. Before now in Africa, kings had absolute power, but colonization, the advent of democracy, and incursion of military into politics, as well as the desire of the people for liberty, have eroded their powers and pushed them into the background. However, in Africa and indeed in several parts of the world, kings still reign majestically due to their connection with tradition and as custodian of the history and culture of their people. Out of the 54 countries in Africa today, only 3 monarchies have maintained monarchical significance and remain as head of state or government. They rule with fiat and possess unmatchable wealth. Hello explorers, and welcome to another interesting, informative and educative video brought to you by the Explorer. The monarchies in Africa are either actual or nominal self-governing states, territories, or nations on the continent of Africa, where supreme power resides with an individual who is recognized as the head of state. All are similar in that the sovereign inherits their office and typically keeps it until death or until their abdication. However, only 3 are currently sovereign, while the remaining are subnational monarchies. 2 of these are constitutional monarchies, Lesotho and Morocco, in which the sovereign is bound by laws and customs in the exercise of his or her powers, and one is an absolute monarchy, Eswatini, in which the sovereign rules without bounds. The subnational monarchies are not sovereign and exist within larger political associations. So let's dive into why Morocco, Lesotho, and Eswatini are considered or known as kingdoms or monarchies. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe and turn notifications so you don't miss out on any of our videos. Lesotho. Lesotho, an enclave of South Africa, is a constitutional elective monarchy. The current monarchy was established in 1824 when Moshoeshoe I, a tribal chieftain, united warring tribes into the Lesotho Kingdom. After his death in 1870, the kingdom was placed under the nominal control of the neighboring British Cape Colony, but the native tribes engaged in a revolt and full British control was not established until 1884 under the name of Basutoland. While under British control, the monarchy continued under the title of Paramount Chief, with a moderate degree of autonomy, particularly in the rural areas. Formal independence was granted in 1966, and a constitutional monarchy was established. However, the democratically elected government was overthrown in 1970 by the Prime Minister in a self-coup. The monarchy was sidelined from then on, including the military government, between 1986 and 1993, when democracy was restored. The current monarch, King Letsie III, ascended to the throne in 1996. Under the current constitution passed in 1993, the king is a constitutional monarch and the head of state, with power being exercised by the parliament. While in practice of hereditary, the king is officially appointed by the College of Chiefs using traditional practices. The College of Chiefs also appoints a regent if one is needed. The Prime Minister also has the power to declare the kingship vacant if the king either violates his oath of office or is deemed unfit to rule. Morocco. Morocco, located in the northwestern corner of Africa, has a long and established history dating back to antiquity. Originally Carthaginian, the territory was controlled by the Roman Empire, the Vandals, and the Byzantine Empire, before falling under Arab control in the 7th century. During that time, the inhabitants of Morocco were known as Moors. After the Reconquista in 1492, the Moroccan state underwent a long period of decline before falling under dual French and Spanish control in 1912. Independence was achieved in 1956, with Sultan Mohammed bin Youssef taking the title of King Mohammed V. The present King Mohammed VI ascended the throne in 1999. Under the current constitution passed in 2011, Morocco is a constitutional monarchy, though the king maintains a fair amount of power. He is the chair of the Superior Council of Ulema, charged with maintaining Moroccan Islam as well as Morocco's Supreme Court. The king is also an active member of the Cabinet of Morocco, having the power to dismiss ministers as well as set the government agenda. He also chairs the Security Council, which oversees the military. Eswatini or Swaziland. Eswatini, the southeastern corner of Africa, originated like Lesotho as a confederation of African tribes. However, it predates Lesotho by approximately 75 years to the mid-18th century. During that time period, Chief Ngwane III of the Swazi people moved his tribe to their present location and united with other African tribes. Beginning in the 1830s, British traders, the Boers and the Dutch settlers interacted with the Swazi tribe, and eventually the illiterate Swazi unknowingly signed treaties which ceded their land to the Boer republics, who assumed control in 1894. And later in 1902, after the Boer War, the British assumed control of Swaziland. It was not until 1967 that the Swazi regained control of internal affairs and independence was granted the following year. For most of the colonial period, the Swazi were ruled by Sobhuza II, who became king upon independence. And in 1973, Sobhuza abolished the democratic constitution that was put in place at the time of independence and declared himself the absolute ruler. Upon his death in 1982, Sobhuza had reigned for 82 years, the longest verified reign of any monarch. The present ruler, King Mswati III, ascended to the throne in 1986, and a new constitution was established in 1998, which allowed for some degree of democratic rule. But in practice, Eswatini remains an absolute monarchy, and the ability of the citizens to participate in the political process is limited. Conclusion: Morocco, Lesotho, and Eswatini are considered or known as kingdoms or monarchies because the monarch or king is head of state for life or until abdication. The political legitimacy and authority of the monarch may vary from restricted and largely symbolic to fully autocratic and can expand across the domains of the executive, legislative, and judicial. There you have it, explorers, why Morocco, Eswatini, and Lesotho are known as kingdoms or monarchies. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and leave a comment. Do not forget to subscribe and also share with plenty of your friends.